Today we're going to talk about the 5 top suburbs of Tacoma, and we are on location on our number 1. But we're going to get to that here in a little bit. And first we want to show you the other 4 that kind of measure up, but not quite as good as this one.
We're Joe and Charity with the Live Well Home Group, and we help people just like you every week find the spot that fits them just perfectly. So stick around, you're going to want to find out where your spot may be in the Pacific Northwest.
Now, as you can see, or maybe you can't, it's a cold day here. I can't quite see our breath, but that's, I think, only because it's being mystified some way. I'm not sure, because it's way colder than it looks. So we're going to come back here and highlight our number 1 suburb of Tacoma that we think you should consider if you're moving to the Northwest.
So stick around, here we go.
All right, we're back inside. It's a lot warmer thanks to your tolerance of this. We may have wussed out a little bit. It might not have been that bad, but it did feel cold. And here we are. Hopefully you're going to hang out and enjoy the rest of this.
So we are going to start at number 5. So the countdown to the best.
That's right.
Number 5 is Fircrest.
Fircrest. Now, what's interesting about Fircrest, it's kind of small and it feels very much connected to Tacoma and right between that sandwich to UP University Place. So residents, about 7,000 residents in it. So it's not a very big area. It's very small. You can drive right through it and perhaps miss it, but it does have a strong sense of community. Some really good things going on.
Yeah, it does. In fact, it's got a great community center, a beautiful park, and a really nice swimming pool. So it's basically the hub of the town, since the town is not that big, and everybody hangs out there and spends their time there, and there's events there and all kinds of great things going on. So it does have a really great community feel.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Now, it's also important to know, so if you're kind of into that, want a little bit smaller community within that, you want some really convenience to Tacoma and the amenities because it's right next door, that might be a place for you, because Tacoma, obviously being the bigger area, has all the amenities you're looking for, the Costco's, the Targets, all of that. It's all conveniently located that way. And the home prices in here might also be hopeful for you.
So if you're thinking this sounds pretty good because I do want to be close to Tacoma, but I want that little small town feel, then this one is probably the one you're looking for. So let's give you some home prices. So you can find some cute little houses here for around $400,000. So if you're thinking I only need a little bit of space and I don't have a very big budget, then you can find some quaint little houses.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're looking at that 400,000, that's obviously the starting point. Some of those in that price range might be considered what's called a fixer-upper. So if you like to put a little sweat equity into your home to give it a little bit more value, you're going to have some options. And then the prices do continue to go up from there. However, it does fit within a little bit more of that mid-budget range. So if that's something that fits in yours, might be an option for you.
The average price in this area is really about $600,000, and with those you still may need to do some updating. A lot of the homes in this area are mid-century, which means you can get some really cool styles, which is one of the styles we love, but some of them haven't been updated yet, so you can get some more sweat equity even in that $600,000 price range. Last year only 80 homes sold in a whole year in Fircrest, of course, because it's not very big. So you might have to wait a little bit if this is an area that you absolutely want to be in. But the price ranges, as we mentioned, are great. Of course, you can go up above the average price range. There are definitely some in the 800,000 price range and a couple in the million that sold last year. So you've got a good range there.
Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I like small, but maybe not that small, and I like to be more of a suburban area, which a little bit more space between you and the city, well, then our next area might be perfect for you, and that is Bonney Lake.
Bonney Lake.
So number 4 on the list is Bonney Lake. Now, what's great about Bonney Lake is you're about 30 to 35 minutes east of Tacoma, and it's in a really wonderful and amazing location. We're going to highlight a couple of those things. And it's a population of about 35,000 people. So it's much bigger than Fircrest, and you got a little bit of space between you and Tacoma.
Which makes it have definitely a more suburb feel. It doesn't feel like you're just neighbor away from Tacoma. You gotta drive to get there.
Yeah.
So that creates a little bit different dynamic where everybody feels like it's their town. They live here. You gotta go a ways to get to the big city. So it has a bit of a different feel in that way. It's also a little bit more rural originally. Because originally the people that were living out there were on bigger properties and on maybe next to the lake or something like that. And so it does have a little bit of a different feel, but it is a really great suburban town.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this suburban town like this, it's going to have your Costco, it's going to have your Targets, it's going to have all of the type of amenities that you would naturally associate with a suburban area. This has those, has also some amazing views of a mountain you might have heard of called Mount Rainier. So it is gorgeous for those views, and also it's got a lot of waterfront because of how Lake Tapps is set up, lots of shoreline and such. So really wonderful area, very much a suburban feel in all of those ways, and beautiful new construction homes and communities.
Yeah, it's perfect for people who love the outdoors. In fact, Joe is mentioning Mount Rainier, and today we were just talking about it's really cool to live in an area where you can be surprised at the beauty every day. Like you live in it and you don't get used to it.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising. The thing about Mount Rainier is a lot of days it's cloudy or overcast and you can't really get a good view of it. So when it comes out, you're like reminded, it's like Valentine's Day. Ah, there it is. I love you type thing. So you kind of.
It looks huge from Bonney Lake. It looks enormous. It's gorgeous. And then of course there's wonderful trails there and beautiful parks. One of the parks you're going to love spending time at if you move to Bonney Lake is Allen York Park. It is the park that's right on Lake Tapps for everyone to use, and they have everything like boating and boat launch and fishing dock and volleyball courts and of course bathrooms, and you got the shelters that you can plan picnics and birthday parties at, and you've got playgrounds and you've got trails and you've got swimming area. It's basically everything.
Anything you can imagine, it's got.
Besides that park, there is a neighborhood called Tahale, and in that neighborhood itself, they have over 1,800 acres of natural area and trails, 12 parks, and over 10 miles of trails, and there's more planned in the future.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have a video about that community if you want to know more about what that has to offer, because it has a lot. You want to check that one out.
So you're thinking, I like the lake life, and I would love to know how much it costs to live here.
So now what's interesting about Bonney Lake is because of its rural feel, it started out with homes that maybe were manufactured home on land. So that's going to start out around $400,000. Now it goes up there in a hurry, depending on what neighborhood you live in, or if you're trying to live on the water, and you can escalate into the millions very quickly. So just kind of give you a little bit of a ballpark, but we'll give you some more details because there's some interesting ones, I think.
One of them being the medium price point is really around $600,000. If you're thinking about buying a home in one of the areas where a lot of new construction has been done, you're going to need to spend a little bit more than that if you want a sizable home. What's really fascinating about this area is it has been growing so rapidly that in the last year, there were a little over 1,000 homes that sold, and 500, so nearly half of those homes were built after 2020.
Yeah, it's coming together, and it's coming together quickly. Really wonderful built homes. We've sold actually multiple homes in that area to our clients, which has been fun to be in that community quite a bit and see the variance. But one thing for sure they all have in common is very well built homes and very nice new construction.
There's a unique thing that you would want to know about schools in that area. Some of the property addresses in Bonney Lake belong to the Sumner Bonney Lake School District, and then others belong to the Ording School District. Ording School District is a lot smaller because Ording's a little tiny town outside of Bonney Lake. So something that's really important for you to look at if you do have kids in school and you are looking in this area.
Yeah, because it's going to affect your commute times of getting them there, and also with extracurricular activities.
So while Bonney Lake is perfect for outdoor lovers and is a really great suburban community, it is the farthest one away from Tacoma. So the next one we are going to check out is Puyallup.
Number 3 on our list is Puyallup, and Puyallup is southeast of Tacoma. It's actually fairly convenient to get on the 512 to get into Tacoma if you happen to work there, and it's also convenient if you're heading north up into the Seattle area to commute to work. So it depends on what you're doing with your lifestyle, and that's why I put it number 3, and it also does have some wonderful features.
It does. I'd say the general feel of Puyallup is definitely hometown. People love their town. People love living in Puyallup, and even though it's the largest of the suburbs we're looking at today, at 43,000, it really does still feel like it's a small town. I think some of that has to do with it has a lot of history in that area, a lot of agricultural history, and the development is really fascinating. In fact, we have another video on Puyallup, a couple of them. So if you're interested in hearing more about Puyallup, make sure you check those out.
One of the things I think is charming about Puyallup is the downtown area. It's got great little restaurants, it's got coffee shops, it's got a little community center that has a lot of activities that are based around Puyallup, which I think are really fun.
I think one of the best farmers markets in the area is in Puyallup, in that downtown area. It's huge, and there's everything that you can think of, from food to trinkets to everything, and there's playground there, and just it's a great place to just go spend the day on a weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And there's also a little thing called the Puyallup Fair.
Yeah, just a little thing. In fact, it is the Washington State Fairgrounds right there in Puyallup, and There's over 1 million people that go to the fair. And if you thought maybe people don't go to the fair anymore,
They do.
they do. And especially to the Puyallup Fair. So if you haven't been, make sure you go. When I was in high school, we used to get the day off of school and get to go for free, which was the best thing ever. I don't know if they do that anymore, but it has so much going on. And besides that, every weekend, there's something happening at the fairgrounds. In fact, there's probably 3 to 5 to 10 things happening at the fairgrounds. There's so many events. So if you like things happening all the time, then Puyallup is a really good location for you.
We mentioned in our videos some more things about the community, parks, places to go, family places to hang out, things to do in the community. So you want to check that out as well. But probably right now you're wondering, what about homes? What is it?
What can I buy there? So Puyallup is kind of divided into 2 areas, the downtown area that Joe was talking about and South Hill. And it's kind of a long strip if you look on the map. The South Hill area is going to be where most of the newer construction is. If you're looking for a new construction home, you're probably going to end up there. And there's some really cute classic houses in the downtown area, which I absolutely love as well. So depending on what you're looking at, you can start around $400,000. You can get some condos in the $300,000. So I guess that would actually be a starting place. But for a single family home, a little small fixer-upper in the 400s, but then you're going to move up to 5s, and the average price point is going to be in the 6s.
Yeah, and one of the things I appreciate about the homes in the South Hill is you can actually get a lot of bang for your buck. So you can get a big home for maybe a little bit more affordable than you would consider, especially in some of the other communities that we're talking about. So if that's something important to you, there's an option for you as well.
Yeah, the average, I would say, newer construction 3 to 4 bedroom home is probably going to be in the mid 6s. And then, you know, the nicer it gets and the more space you get around you and the more space you get in your house, you're going to be in the 7s and 8s. And Puyallup also has a little rural area too, so you're going to find properties with larger lots. You're also going to find properties with really big lots or acreage, and you could find a really nice estate. So you can be into the millions if you're looking for something that's more like an estate.
Now, Puyallup just has some really great schools as well. You can look those up online to be able to see what they're rated at. I always joke around because Puyallup and Olympia High School had some good competition in baseball. They're still having it. I'm sure they're going to be for the next several years as well. So if that's important to you, make sure you check that out. So Puyallup has some wonderful features for sure. However, if you want to be a little bit closer to Tacoma, then number 2 on the list might be up your alley, and that is University Place. University Place is just about 10 to 15 minutes west of Tacoma, and it's on the waterfront overlooking Puget Sound. So it's got a lot of really unique features that we're going to jump into.
We chose University Place as number 2 because it is so close to Tacoma, and it does not like Fircrest where you feel like you're right on the border of Tacoma. It's just a little farther removed. In fact, it's on the other side of Fircrest. And it feels like it's your own little town. People absolutely love living there. A lot of times people are moving here specifically because of the schools that are highly rated. Go ahead and look them up and you'll find out why. And with only 35,000 residents, it feels like you have your own little small town community.
Yeah, it's fantastic. One of the things I really appreciate about University Place is you do have a lot of water view property. So you get views over Puget Sound. I love that. You've heard me say that in other videos, that I think Puget Sound is probably the most beautiful place on the earth. And you get views of that over the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, looking at Gig Harbor, looking at some other serene places. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. University Place also has some beautiful parks and trails and a wonderful golf course called Chambers Creek Golf Course.
It's beautiful. It overlooks Puget Sound. The great thing about Chambers Creek is certain times of the year you can watch fish go up the river and spawn, so it's kind of a little bit fun. There's a little bit of a trail, and if you do have a boat, you can go out in front of that in Puget Sound and catch some of them, which I've got a couple of stories about my brother-in-law putting a dead fish on his line, but that's another time for sure.
There's also a really great trail in the area called Chambers Bay Loop Trail. It connects 3 different trails, so it's over 3 miles, and part of it you'll be along the golf course, part of it you'll be along the beach, so it is a great way to spend your day when you want to be out and about.
So UP does have some great little restaurants, some great little coffee shops. There is a lot of businesses that operate out of there, so you got a lot of different options depending on what you're looking for. And of course, we all know how convenient it is to the local amenities.
Well, Whole Foods is there, and if Whole Foods is one of your favorite places to be, that is the only one in the Tacoma area, so you can be nice and close if you live there. But then if you're going to go to like mall or bigger stores, then you're going to just venture into Tacoma, which, like we said, it's really close, so you're not going to be very far away at all.
Which leads us into the question of like, what can you get for a home? Well, we'll tell you kind of a little overview of what to expect in buying a home in the University Place area.
So last year, an entire year, only 300 homes sold, which is not very many for 35,000 residents, which tells you people love it there and they don't leave very often.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a home, that always causes the prices to be a little higher. People love the area and there's not many on the market. So you're going to be in about the 5s to 6s for the starter home there, which means you might need to do a little work. More in the 7s and 8s for something you're going to feel like I can move into this. And you still might need updating because there's a lot of mid-century homes in that area.
Yeah, as well. And then, of course, anything with a view, not anything with a view, but most of the view homes, and the closer you get to the water, the prices are going to go up from there. There are homes definitely over $1 million in the area. Some quirky little places around Tacoma Marina that are really fun. I've looked at those all the time, about little ones on a little jetty that are for sale. So a lot of great options for you depending what you're looking for and depending what your budget is. So you think to yourself, gosh, UP sounds like pretty amazing. How could that not be number one? Well, to get to number one, you're actually going to have to get into your car and go across the bridge, and we'll take you to...
Let's wait till we get there. Come with us. Remember, we told you at the beginning of the video, we're going to take you back to the number one spot. So let's go.
So, as obvious, this is our opinion of the number one suburb to live in Tacoma. Some other people have different views, and that's okay. People can be wrong, or maybe I'm wrong. It's hard to say. Anyways, but let's jump into why this is our number one location.
And first, let's tell you what is our number one location. We are standing here in Gig Harbor, Washington.
Yeah. And we obviously have other videos on Gig Harbor if you want to go explore more detail about it. But we're going to give you some of the highlights of why we think this is a wonderful place for you to consider moving to.
First of all, the location is really ideal. It's just outside of Tacoma. Actually, you just go over the bridge, Tacoma Narrows Bridge. And if you want to see some fascinating information on Tacoma Narrows Bridge, look up Galloping Gertie.
Yeah. So thank goodness it's not going to fall in a windstorm again. However, you know, it's just kind of one of those things keep in the back of your mind because I know I do while I'm driving across the bridge. The thing that I like about it that kind of puts it at the top of the list for me is the lifestyle that you have here. Now, it is a little small coastal community on a harbor. You can see behind us the wonderful homes that are lining the harbor. It's a wonderful marina, but it's this lifestyle. It's a little laid back. It's a little upscale. It's got a lot of things that are going on throughout each individual holiday season, whether it be fall or summer or spring, the Christmas time with the boats that come down, the parade of lights. It's really a quaint type of community. If that's something important to you, then this might be your number one as well.
In fact, there's only about 13,000 people that live here. So compared to Tacoma, which is quite large, it is really small. So if you're feeling like I'd like to have that close proximity to Tacoma and maybe have all the amenities and museums and all the extra restaurants to do and maybe just the big city life, but you want to live somewhere that's quieter, then this is really ideal for you. The other thing that I love about this area is that besides the beauty of the water, there's also the beauty of the trees. Unless you're buying a home in one of the HOA neighborhoods that cut down a lot of trees, you're going to have a home that's surrounded by trees. And I know that when people are moving to the Pacific Northwest, that's usually the number one thing that they're looking for.
Yeah. Also on top of that goes along with the lifestyle is the hikes and the access to the outdoors that are so convenient. Whether you come down and use your kayak or rent a boat or rent a paddleboard, use any of your own, there are wonderful parks and places to hike. Just meander around in the community without having to maybe go all the way out to the peninsula to explore because they're really in your backyard.
Yeah, in fact, Kopechak State Park is another really great park that's got great beach access. And like Joe said, you could rent a boat or you can have your own boat, which is what Joe wishes that at some point he will have.
Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation. So I'm just letting you know, if you guys have good strategies of how to talk your wife into buying a boat, let me know because all of mine have not been working so far.
Not yet. So let's talk about housing prices here.
So we can start off for a house. You can get a condo for around that $400,000 mark. Now that's going to be at the low end of that. Probably 1 bedroom, 1 bath with a nice little potential view or no view. So that's where it kind of starts and it goes up from there. However, when you do think about a condo, you can also get one about that price range up to the 500 that's close to the downtown harbor community, which is really convenient and charming. So something you may want to consider, especially if you just don't need a lot of space or don't want to have a lot of space, we got you covered.
That's right. But if you're looking for a single family home, the typical 3 to 4 bedroom single family home, it's going to be like the mid 7s to the mid 8s. And then, of course, the larger lot you have, the more review you have, the more property you have, the prices are going to go up. And if you get one of these beautiful homes,
Yeah, expect to spend a couple $1,000,000. There, when you're on the harbor or specifically right around it, the waterfront around this area definitely escalates in a hurry depending on the size of the home. But definitely expect to spend well over $1,000,000 to get something that's specifically on the water if it's been updated at all.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think about it all the time, incidentally, all the time. I look at these homes. It's one of the horrible parts about being a real estate agent is I'm voyeuristic. I've looked at all of these homes on the water at least once.
And speaking about being real estate agents, as we mentioned, we help people just like you every week find a perfect place to live. So if you're thinking after watching this, maybe one of these suburbs would work great for you, or you want to explore some other areas in the Pacific Northwest, then you've got our number. Just go ahead and reach out, call or text us, and we'd be happy to chat with you.